This is The Missing Dolls by Jessica Lasecki. The Missing Dolls by Jessica Lasecki, illustrated by Jessica Lasecki. To a joyful and pleasant girl, Kim Smith. One blazing hot day in California, Stacy was swimming in her pool. She heard a noise coming from her mansion. Stacy thought it was just her servants working, so she kept on swimming. Then her servant came out and asked, "Did you call for me?" "No, I didn't, but since you're here, you can help me out of the pool." "Okay." Stacy got dressed and went to the store where she would trade her old porcelain dolls for new porcelain dolls. The sign on the door read "Closed."
Oh!
Stacy thought she would come back tomorrow when it's open. She went to her car. There were two men staring at her from across the street. Stacy went home, ate dinner, and watched television. When Stacy went to sleep, she kept tossing and turning. She was having a bad dream about the men that were staring at her today. It's the next morning, and Stacy is getting ready to go to the doll shop. Stacy goes to the locked room where her dolls are stored. The lock was broken. Stacy remembered that she had broke the lock. She goes in the room, and the dolls were gone. Stacy called her servants and asked, "Did you send the dolls to the cleaners?" "No, ma'am, I didn't." "Okay, you're excused." "I don't understand. I'm going to have to call the Debbie and Nancy Detective Agency." "Good morning, Debbie and Nancy Detective Agency. Can I assist you?" "Yes, my name is Stacy Smith, and my porcelain dolls were stolen." "Okay, calm down and tell me your address." "It's 9985 West California Drive." "Thank you, Debbie, and I will be there in 30 minutes. Oh, it was 20 minutes, bless you. Stacy was very nervous. You could hear her teeth going clickety-clack, clickety-clack. And this paper is... You could see her hand shaking like it was 10 degrees outside. The doorbell rang. Ding dong. Stacy answers the door. It was Debbie and Nancy, the detectives. Nancy asked, "Miss Smith, when did you check the dolls last?" "I don't know. Probably last week." "Miss Smith, do you want us to start the case today or tomorrow?" "Tomorrow, please, tomorrow." "Okay, we'll see you tomorrow." Debbie and Nancy left. Stacy was frightened that the thieves would still be there. Stacy asked her servant if she could stay the night. The servant agreed. The servant slept with Stacy. Even with the servant, she still couldn't sleep. She thought she heard noises. All of a sudden, she heard tinker, tinker, dash. No, tinker, tinker, clash, coming from the room where the dolls used to be. She got her robe on and creeped up. Oh, I spelled creeped wrong. To the door. She was going to get her gun, but she didn't. It was necessary.
What?
Stacy walked in, and the only thing that was wrong was the window was opened, and the trees were rattling like a baby rattle. She closed the window and went back to her room and fell asleep. Now it's 9 a.m. and the doorbell rings. Ding dong. Stacy wakes up. Her servant had already been up, so she answered the door. It was Nancy and Debbie from the detective agency. Stacy goes down the stairs. Debbie asks, "Have you been in the room since you've noticed the dolls were gone?" "Yes, to close the window," replied Stacy. "Okay, may we go up to the room and check it out?" "Sure." Nancy and Debbie went upstairs and took fingerprints off the cabinet the dolls were on. They found out the robbers must have had a key to get the cabinet opened. Whiteout. Nancy and Debbie went back to the agency. They found fingerprints, so they took them to the police station and asked, "Do you have any criminal with these fingerprints? Let's check." "Yes, we do. Jim and James. They stay at 5556 Raid Lane." Thanks, Debbie called Stacy and told her they were going to this hideout. When Debbie and Nancy got to this house, they heard Jim and James talking. "James, let's go back to the mansion on California Street tonight. Yeah, we can get some loot." Debbie and Nancy went back to Stacy's mansion and told her what they said, and they questioned Stacy. Could we stay here all night so we can catch Jim and James if they come? Yes, you can. We'll go upstairs, and if you want to, you can come too and help us. Great! They went upstairs and hid in the room. Night came and they heard some guys talking. Then they saw a little knife cutting the screen. Then they heard the window clash. It was broken, James exclaimed. The lights are on! I know, I just turned them on. Stacy whispered, it's starting to rain and lighten. All of a sudden, Stacy, Debbie, and Nancy jumped out. The door slammed and the lights went on. Aha! The lights came back on, and Jim and James ended up in Nancy and Debbie's arms. They took Jim and James to the police station and put them in jail. Debbie and Nancy got the porcelain dolls back, and Stacy gave $1,000 apiece. And then they became the #1 detective agency in California.